Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I am Jam, and I'll be your host for today. I hope that you're all doing amazing. Today, we will be talking about something I'm sure we've all come across surveys and feedback. Let's be real. How many times have we opened a survey email and thought, I'll get to that later, only to never hit submit? Yes. I'm also guilty as charged, and that's exactly why we are here, so that we can explore how SMS can make feedback faster, easier, and way more effective. And we've got just the right person to guide us through. We have Kat, our incredible customer service manager. She's been working closely with customers for years, and she knows exactly what it takes to get feedback that's not only honest, but also actionable. Hi, Kat. We are excited to have you with us, and we are excited to hear all your insights.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Jam. And hello, everyone. It is really great seeing you guys today. I'm really excited to be here with all of you to share some tips and tricks on how you can actually utilize SMS whenever you collect surveys and feedback as well.
Awesome. I bet this session will be packed with so much insight. Now, let's go ahead and start with the big one. Kat, why SMS? Out of all the channels that we can use, what makes text messages such a powerful way to collect feedback?
No, thank you so much for this question, Jam. I think this is definitely a great way to start. Well, like what you said, if we're being honest, we really tend to avoid or ignore email surveys altogether. And just like us, most of the customers don't really have the time or even the patience to dig through those emails and answer such a long form. And this is exactly why we are talking about SMS surveys today. And let me tell you why they work the best. First is because of the high open rate. SMS has about 98% open rate, which means almost guaranteed visibility. Messages are delivered instantly, and nearly everyone can respond to a text. Now, customers rarely ignore text as well, while emails often end up in spam, junk mail, or simply, getting lost in those crowded inboxes. And if you compare SMS to email, you might be lucky to even get 20 to 30% open rate. And because of this, SMS is definitely one of the most reliable ways to ensure that your survey actually gets seen and get answered as well. Now, next is because they are not intrusive and it offers your customers flexibility as well. Now, why, you ask? Well, SMS doesn't really interrupt their day like a phone call might. Customers don't really have to log into their email, click through the long form, and it gives your customers flexibility as well because they can reply when it is convenient for them without really having that pressure of being put on the spot. This makes SMS definitely one of those, customer friendlier ways in collecting feedback because customers appreciate that you are asking for their opinion without really interrupting their day. And that feeling of respect makes customers more willing to engage in the surveys that you send. Now, aside from those two, it is also because they are automation friendly, or SMS is automation friendly. Platforms such as TextScript make it easy to schedule your surveys automatically. So you can easily add your leads to a drip campaign after a purchase or an appointment. You can also follow up with them using our keyword-based quick responses and even identify the intent of your customer's response. Now, take note that all of those can happen without really, you even lifting a finger, making SMS both scalable and efficient while still feeling personal to your customers. So in a nutshell, Jam, SMS works because it's quick, it's personal, and it is easy to automate, which makes it a perfect tool for collecting feedback.
I love that. Kat, now I understand why SMS is so powerful. Also, I really like how you explained the mix of high open rates and how non-intrusive SMS can be. It really makes total sense why people are more likely to respond. But now that we know SMS really works, let's go ahead and talk about the fun part, the surveys themselves. So, Kat, what do you think are the types of surveys that perform the best when sent over SMS?
Great question, Jam. Well, let me tell you that not every survey format works well over text. So it's really important that we focus on those that works well. And let me give you a few examples of the surveys that works well over SMS. First is the single question feedback. Now, this is one of the most common and a very effective format of survey because you're asking for a one quick rating that gives you a pulse on the customer satisfaction. So for these types of survey, you can say something like, how satisfied are you with our service today? Reply 1 if bad, while 5 is excellent. Now, the beauty of this survey is in its simplicity. Customers don't feel overwhelmed, and yet you still get a clear and measurable data as well. Now, even one response like this can give you or can tell you whether the experience was positive or if there is a room for improvement. Next would be Net Promoter Score surveys, or what you may be familiar with as NPS survey. Now, this is a widely used survey in many industries because it measures the customer loyalty and not just the satisfaction. So for these types of survey, you can say something like, how likely are you to recommend this to a friend? 1 is not at all, while 10 is excellent. Now, the great thing about this SMS is, or this survey, is that people can instantly reply with just a number. And that response gives you a valuable insight into how the customers truly feel about your company. Now, to gauge NPS survey, here's how you can do it. So, customers who scored you between 9 and 10 would be your promoters. So, they are your loyal, satisfied customers and are likely to share the word or spread the word about your company. Now, customers who scored you between 7 to 8 would be what you call as passives. So these are your satisfied customers as well, but not really that enthusiastic. And lastly, customers who gave you a score between 0 and 6 would be your unhappy customers. So these are the customers that you need to work with and win back. Now, aside from those two, you can also use a yes or no pulse. Now, whenever you need a straightforward answer, yes or no pulse would be perfect for you. So for these types of survey, you can say something like, did your issue get resolved today? Reply yes or no. Now, this works especially well after support interaction, deliveries, or even appointments as well. If someone replies no, then you need to follow up with that customer to ensure that you address and try to fix the issue right away. Now, Jam, I do understand that sometimes you need a little more detail, but let me tell you that SMS isn't really the place for long questionnaires. 3 questions would be your sweet spot. More than that, customers are likely to drop it off even before starting it, really. So let me give you an example of what the 3-question sequence looks like. So first, hi Jam, thank you for visiting us today. May we ask you 3 quick questions? It takes less than 5 minutes. Now that question gives you or sets the expectations up front. Next, how would you rate your experience? 1 is 5, while 1 is bad, while 5 is great. Now this gives you the satisfaction score. And lastly, would you return in the future? Yes or no? Now that shows the loyalty and likelihood of repeat business. Now the sequence that I gave you feels conversational and light, like texting a friend, instead of a formal survey. It's engaging and definitely not overwhelming, which is why customers are more likely to participate to it. Now, the bottom line is short and simple surveys perform really best, whether it's a single rating, a quick, NPS score, or even a yes or no poll.
Those are some really, really great information, Kat. I also have to agree with you that short and simple is the way to go. Basically just keep it light so people actually respond, right? Okay, but I know some people might be wondering, once you've got the right survey, how do you make sure people actually respond? So, Kat, my next question is, what are some ways we can increase response rates?
Now, this question is, I think, the question that most people that are watching us today are really thinking about. Because sending a survey is easy, but getting customers to respond definitely takes the right approach. And that is indeed the challenge, right? Well, here are a few tips that I'd like to share with you. First, timing is everything. It's not just what you send, but it's also when you send it. Ideally, send the SMS survey within 5 to 10 minutes after the interaction. Now, this is crucial because sending it a day or two may result in the customer forgetting the details of what happened or really, losing interest altogether. Whereas if you send it almost immediately, it ensures that your customers gives you a thoughtful feedback while the experience is still fresh. Next, personalization matters. Now, I can't stress this enough, and you may have even heard this from the last couple of webinars that we've had, but this is definitely worth repeating. It's always ideal that you use the name or reference the service or the representative that your customers have worked with. Because adding a personal touch feels more genuine, and this does not really increase the chances of a reply, but it also builds trust with your customers because they know that you value them as an individual and not just another transaction. Now, this is where TextScript can help you because we do have verge fields that you can use to make the message feel like an intimate and personal conversation, regardless if you're actually reaching out to multiple leads one after another. And then after those two, it's also important that you set the expectations. People are much more willing to engage when they know upfront how much effort or energy it is really required of them. If your survey makes it sound like a long process, they won't really even bother at all. So that's why it's very important that when you send your survey, you add things like just one quick question. It takes less than 10 seconds. Because if you frame it as short and easy process, you lower the barrier to entry and make customers more likely to participate in the survey. Now, once you get all of those, here's where you can get them even more engaged. Incentivize them. A small perk, like a small reward, it can be in the form of a discount, loyalty points, entries to a raffle, and many more depending on your business. Now, doing this can really increase the chances of driving up responses because who doesn't want to win something for free? I sure do. And lastly, follow up. If they don't respond, do a gentle nudge. Not everyone will answer the first time, and that is completely normal. So a gentle reminder can make a huge difference, but the key is to only follow up once. By following up, it shows that you care without really being pushy or even annoying as well. If they still don't reply, move on. Too many reminders can also hurt your company's image. So really, it's about making the surveys easy, timely, rewarding, and customers are more likely to participate in the survey that you send.
Really, really practical tips there, Kat. And they're also very important. The timing, personalization, setting of expectations. Also, I really like how you tied in the small incentives because let's be real, who doesn't like a little perk, right? I love that. All right, let's say we've got responses rolling in. Kat, what do you think businesses should do with the feedback once they receive it?
Now, this is such an important point, Jam, because collecting responses doesn't really mean much unless you know how to turn that feedback into action. And the worst thing that you can do is nothing. So here are a few tips that I'd like to share. First is you have to act fast. Feedback is only valuable if you act on it, especially if you are receiving negative responses. So if someone replies, one, not satisfied, well, that is a major red flag. So make sure that you have someone follow up with that customer within the hour if possible, because the faster you respond, the more likely that you are to turn that unhappy customer into a loyal one. Next, it's also important that you track the trends. Don't just look at the feedback one case at a time. Step back and look at the bigger picture. Are you seeing the same complaints over and over? Tracking trends will help in identifying any recurring issues, and it allows you to address and make improvements on the process. And then after those, it's also important that you share the wins. Feedback isn't always negative, and positive responses are very much powerful too. So use them to recognize and celebrate your team. You can highlight those positive feedback that are received during your biweekly huddles or your company's monthly dashboard. Give a shout out to the top performers on your team and increase the team morale. Now, this does not only boost the morale, but it also reinforces the behaviors, the attitude, the practices that make the customers happy. Because remember, when your employees feel recognized, they are much more motivated to keep delivering a great service. And finally, you can also use those good reviews as testimonials. Positive feedback can definitely double as a marketing goal. So ask for permission and then post those positive feedback that you receive in your website or social media pages. By doing this, it really helps build trust with new clients, reinforce your company's credibility, and showcase real human success stories. Now, the key here, Jam, is that you really have to act on the feedback, fix the issues, highlight the wins, and show the customers that you are really listening so that they know that the feedback they made was not made in vain. At the end of the day, SMS feedback isn't really just about the data, but it's also a way to build trust, loyalty, and stronger customer relationships.
And those were such great reminders, Kat. Acting on feedback, following up quickly, spotting patterns, and celebrating the wins. I think that's what truly makes feedback matter. And just like that, our time together has flown by. That was our last question for today. But if there's one key message I hope you take with you, it is that SMS surveys are not just about collecting responses, but they're also about building stronger relationships. Because I believe that when you respect people's time, it makes it easy for them to share, then show that you've listened, and that's when real trust grows. And also, a huge thank you, Kat, for guiding us through this session so thoughtfully. Your insights were not only practical, but they're also inspiring. I'm very positive we're all and to everyone who joined us today, thank you so much. You could have spent your time anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us. So thank you so much. And now, if you'd like to learn more about how SMS can help your business grow, feel free to reach out to us at customersupport@techstrip.com. And also make sure to keep an eye out for next webinar episodes. Until then, thanks again and have a great day, everyone.